Full steam ahead on BT23 Hackers Slumber set review videos. Today is revisiting Cyber Sleuth with some additions for BT22. As always, if you enjoy these types of videos, do consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that notification bell for more future content. With a few days before pre-release, it's important to get up to speed on these cards, and which ones might be great picks even if they're not as super rare. Starting with Yokomon, this is the next deck that provides you a draw for your CS deck. However, you must attack with a Digimon to get that extra resource. Sumemon is the comparative egg here that simply requires you to play a Digimon with a CS or unidentified trait, but ultimately I think players will still lean more to Wanyamon for that cheap Digivolution cost up, and utilize other cards to get more cards to hand. But for the remainder of this video, I do want to separate this back into each tamer's individual Digimon as groups for understanding how they support old cards, then how they could be used for pre-release. Starting with Nokia Shiramine's line, Greymon is a Digimon that digivolves for 2 from a red or blue Digimon, meaning now Agumon and Gabumon have a much easier time climbing up the chain. It has Raid, and a main once per turn effect, in which by placing this Digimon's top stacked card as its bottom Digivolution card, you may play one Gabumon or Nokia Shiramine from your hand with the play cost reduced by 2. Kind of huge considering if you promote up this Digimon from the raise, you tuck this to the bottom of the sources, play out Nokia Shiramine, and then it's off to the races if you have all your other pieces. The inheritable is simply a plus 2000 DP buff. Likewise, garurumon shares the same basic effects except playing an Agumon or Nokia from the hand at a reduced cost by 2, and has an opponent's turn inheritable of plus 2000 DP buff. I see we've started copying our homework from Galaxy decks. Largely, I think both this card and the Greymon are going to create a better sense of safety for going into Omnimon, and it might also promote more use of Black War Greymon Ace if it begins to perform well. But until then, Omnimon has only had maybe a top or 2 with recent regional event data in North America. If you haven't checked that out yet, you can find meta report analysis on Core TCG and PPG's more recent events amongst my recent videos. Moving to Yuuko Kamishiro, we only saw some of her cards in the form of rizegreymon and gaiomon. With BT23, we get more of her mainline cards, and here, we'll start with geogreymon. The new geogreymon digivolves from a level 3 with Agumon in its name, or with the CS trait for a cost of 2. At least we've removed the need for that Agumon and Dinosaur trait, which is conventional with Marcus Damon's geogreymon. This is a security Digimon that plays itself at the end of battle without paying the cost, and has Raid and Blocker. In addition, its inheritable is also Blocker. This is definitely something that in my mind buffs Gaiomon because previously, you had to run Tai Kamiyas for the Blocker aspect. But now with 4 of these bad boys, it's now a built-in inheritable. Out of all the cards I've seen for BT23 so far, this feels like a great card to pick up in Sealed for defense, and potentially raiding into your opponent's cards provided you have DP buffs. A new Black War Garurumon debuts in this set, and also has Blocker. On play, and when digivolving, if you have a tamer with the CS trait, i.e. Yuuko Kamashiro, give one of your opponent's Digimon start of main, this Digimon attacks until their turn ends. Can you say, Black War Greymon Ace target? It's still a shame that the CS trait Gaiomon doesn't digivolve over Black War Greymon, but what's intriguing most about this Digimon is that it has an inheritable of all turns. Once per turn when the attack target changes, you de-digivolve 1 on one of your opponent's Digimon. The reason why this is very powerful with Black War Greymon Ace is because this Digimon has Raid, Reboot, and Blocker, which means when your opponent attacks, if Were Garurumon doesn't leave the battlefield, at counter timing, you digivolve into Black War Greymon Ace, then declare blocks, at which point you de-digivolve and then the block actually happens. On subsequent turns, this means that Black War Greymon Ace can de-digivolve potentially Ace targets before they can actually blast because of its raid keyword. BanchoLeomon is the next Digimon to review over, and is a yellow-red Digimon that digivolves from a red or yellow level 5 for a cost of 4, or a level 5 with Leomon or the CS trait for a cost of 3. It has a play cost reduction ability if your opponent has a Digimon with 10,000 DP or more, but fundamentally it doesn't do anything with the XL trait. On play, and when digivolving, one of your other Digimon may digivolve into a level 6 or lower Digimon card with Leomon in its name or the CS trait in the hand without paying the cost. Considering you could somehow set up multiple Fortitude stacks with Leomon in their name, this could give you the chance to digivolve into say Heavy Leomon for a Bancho Heavy Leo DNA play. End of your turn once per turn, one of your Digimon gains Raid for the turn. Then that Digimon may attack. Considering it's not necessarily Leomon focused, and can also do CS trait Digimon from the hand, I do think this is a sleeper aggro card that could be useful at pre-release. Yuko has 2 more Digimon that make appearances in this set review video. Lylamon can have its playcost reduced by 3 if you have Yuuko Kamishiro or a CS trait Digimon in play. On play, and when digivolving, by suspending one Digimon. Until your opponent's turn ends, their effects can't return one of your Digimon with Vegetation, Plant, or Fairy in any of its traits, or the CS trait to the hand or dex. While it's nice they can't return one of your Digimon, I don't like that you have to suspend any Digimon, which makes it vulnerable to attacking. Other decks don't really have this stipulation when it comes to protection, though if it is the Pomumon for suspending your opponent's Digimon, it might be worthwhile, especially if you use this Digimon's inheritable to trash the top security card when you delete one of their Digimon. Keep in mind, the standard for this effect is now on all turns. And finally, for this particular video, Rosemon returns as an uncommon with Fortitude? On play and when digivolving, by suspending one Digimon or Tamer. Until your opponent's turn ends, one of their Digimon or Tamers can't unsuspend. Opponent's turn. Once per turn when one of your opponent's Digimon attacks, you may change the attack target to one of your suspended Digimon with Vegetation, Plant, or Fairy in any of its traits, or the CS trait. Frankly, Plant, Vegetation, and Fairy decks need something to elevate them further. While the Fortitude isn't terrible, there's just too much mass DP reductions, and the existence of medieval Gallantmon largely renders these decks ineffective. In Sealed, it's a great redirect. While players may wonder why I don't have Machinedramon or the Zaxxon crew in here, I separated it into its own video for a focused discussion. Instead, this video looks primarily at the previous Tamers from BT22, and then some. Which means, the only other Digimon whose Tamer was in BT22 before the new CS ones is Mirei Mikagura. While there was initial speculation that Mirei would give us Mastimon support cards, Bandai would push this off until this set. With the new angewomon, when this Digimon would be played from the hand, if you have ladydevimon or Mirei Mikagura in play, you reduce the play cost by 3. On play, and when digivolving, you add the top security card to your hand. Then if you have 3 or fewer security cards, recover 1. Its inheritable is simply Alliance. Might be beneficial recovery in Sealed, but it's a little restrictive at 3 security. ladydevimon likewise has the same playcost reduction, but this Digimon has Blocker and has an on-play and when digivolving effect that deletes one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. And like the standard for most ladydevimons, inheritable Scapegoat. I do like this for the potential removal in Sealed too, which means for the final card for the old CS crew, it's Mastimon. This secret rare is going to further waifu tax the heck out of the deck, and is a level 6 Digimon that DNA digivolves from a purple and yellow level 5. This Digimon has Barrier, and specifically partitions Angewomon and ladydevimon when it would leave the battlefield when it's not by battle. When digivolving, you may play one level 5 or lower yellow or purple Digimon card from your hand or trash without paying the cost. Then, if this Digimon stack has 2 or more same level cards, you trash the top cards of both players' security stack, so they have 3 cards left. Luckily, this effect is a huge boost in that it's no longer dependent on when DNA digivolving, but typical of the CS cards that look for same level cards. Which means if you're playing CS Mastimon and you're able to tuck cards into the sources before climbing back up, 2 level 4s will also suffice for the effect. Considering there is a Crestymon that is purple, you could theoretically also throw this into a Galaxy deck if you wanted to, however, the partition won't be effective. Lastly, its all turns effect is a once per turn effect, where when security stacks are removed from, you may place one Digimon as the bottom security card. In a scenario where you digivolved into this and kept turn, you play one level 5 or lower yellow or purple Digimon card from the trash without paying cost, and then take both players' security down to 3 if there were 2 or more same level cards in the stack. If there's a particular Digimon on board that's a threat, you can spin back your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the security, or you can spin back your own level 5 Digimon to go back to 4 security. It's a very neat little trick, especially if you have inheritable Blocker. But outside of Nokia Shiramine, Yuko Kamishiro, and Mirei Mikagura, the first standalone tamer who doesn't have any other support cards is going to be Takumi Aiba. The partners for this Digimon are the Terriermon, Palmon, and Garurumon from the last set, meaning we're simply reviewing what this tamer does. This 4-cost white CS tamer has a start of main phase effect, that if your opponent has a Digimon, you gain 1 memory. While initially a little expensive, it's gotta do something good, right? All turns, when any of your Digimon with the CS trait would leave the battle area, by suspending this tamer and trashing 2 same level cards from one of your CS trait Digimon's Digivolution cards, they don't leave. The protection for this archetype is built into the tamer, which explains why the Craniumon protects Takumi Aiba, and Takumi protects the Digimon. But now for the last couple of cards, Goro Matayoshi is a new red tamer that has a start of main phase that if your opponent has a Digimon, you gain 1 memory. Also your turn when your Digimon are played or digivolve. if any of them have the avian, bird, beast, animal, or sovereign, other than the sea animal in any of their traits, or the CS trait, by returning this tamer to the hand, one of your Digimon gets plus 3000 DP for the turn, then one of your Digimon may attack. Interesting. It doesn't circumvent Rush, but it could be a great end-of-turn attacker. Partnered up with Goro is of course Birdramon, a new variant that can Digivolve from any level 3 CS trait Digimon and has an on-play and when Digivolving effect that deletes one of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less. Its inheritable is an on-deletion. You may play one red or CS trait tamer card from your hand without paying the cost. And it doesn't matter the memory cost either, which could lead to some very interesting faction crosses. Coupled with the fact that we have garurumon, this Digimon has an on-play and when Digivolving effect that gives one of your Digimon raid for the turn. Which means if a Birdramon was previously deleted, you could be playing Yuko's for the additional DP buffs since it's not just Greymon Digimon she helps, but CS traits. On deletion, for both its inheritable and when itself is deleted, you may play one level 4 or lower Digimon card with a CS trait, or avian, bird, beast, animal, or sovereign other than sea animal in any of its traits from your hand, without paying the cost. A shame that this doesn't increase based on the security left for your opponent though. Now with the final tamer, it's Makiko Date. She shares the same start of main phase as the 3-cost tamers for memory, but has a your turn effect in which when any of your Digimon would Digivolve into a Digimon card, with Beastkin, Holy Beast, Cherub, or CS trait, by returning this tamer to the hand, you may play one Lotmon or level 3 Digimon card with a CS trait from your hand without paying the cost. And traditionally, since Lotmon cards do have Alliance, the purpose of this tamer is to set up that second body. With Lotmon, this Digimon has a your turn effect, in which you can Digivolve an Antylamon for a cost of 3, ignoring its Digivolution requirements if you have Makiko in play. Luckily, you can evo into this from Kokomon, or a level 2 Digimon with the CS trait for a cost of 0. This Digimon also has an all turns once per turn effect, in which when any of your other Digimon suspend, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 DP for the turn. Great for Alliance. With the last and final card for this video going to Antylamon, a level 5 Digimon that Digivolves from Taruemon or Wendigomon for a cost of 3. It has, of course, Alliance, and an all turns once per turn effect where when any of your cards with the Beast, Beastkin, or CS trait are played, until your opponent's turn ends, one of their Digimon can't activate when Digivolving effects. This is huge considering this mitigates the risks of Blast Digivolution when you attack. And when you get higher to Shiramine, that DP reduction inheritable is even more harsh. With cards covered for Nokia Shiramine, Yuuko Kamishiro, and Mirei Mikagura, we now add the additional cards from the cast with Takumi Aiba, Makiko Date, and Goro Matayoshi. What are your thoughts on each of these cards? Which are your favorites, and does this video give you some ideas for crafting? Let me know, and I'll catch you on the next set review video tomorrow, looking into a majority of the purple cards with Liberator and the Undead cards. This is DIGI-PANDA, logging out.